The Alchemist is one of the 5 key vendors that you're going to be frequenting often when you're playing Diablo 4. The Alchemist is where you're going to go to upgrade your healing vials, craft yourself elixirs, eventually craft whatever an incense is, as well as being able to transmute all of your various resources into other ones depending on what your needs are. As a quick disclaimer, everything I'm about to tell you comes from the press release beta that we got access to, so we've only been able to see up to level 25, but a lot of what the vendor screen already shows you goes far beyond that. Not only that, taking a look into the achievements that were available in this build of the game, there are a lot more features to come than what we're able to see in our press release. But that being said, all of this is very preliminary, and any part of what I'm about to show you may change at any point. You won't be getting any gameplay footage since we weren't able to record that, so you'll be seeing B-roll footage, and then everything that we're able to transcribe. Once you hit level 10, you were actually able to go unlock the Alchemist, and it gave you a fairly simple quest. You needed to take your base healing vial and upgrade it to a higher level healing vial. So heading over to the Alchemist in Kyovashad, the prime city in the Fractured Peaks region, we did just that. Upgrading a healing vial is really important. Your healing vial is what you're going to use to heal during dungeons and while you're out exploring, but you only have a certain limited number of them, and only a few types of monsters will be able to drop additional healing vial charges as you're playing. So increasing the effectiveness of your healing vial is really important. For the cost of about 2,500 gold and 8 Gallo Vine, which is basically the most simple or most common crafting material that the alchemists use that you find throughout the entirety of the world, you're able to bump up your healing vial to healing 48 life when used, and then it's always going to heal a consistent 35% of your life over an amount of time. As you can see, as you level up, the requirements for increasing the healing vial will go up, as well as including some additional resource types. That flat value of life healed is going to increase as well. Looking at the bottom of the vendor screen, it looks like the last time that you're able to upgrade your healing vial was at level 90, and at that point on use, it was going to heal just over 1,200 life every time you activated it. It also looks like it requires a ton of resources and a pretty decent amount of gold as well. So if I had to make a recommendation, I would say as you're playing, always stop to smell the flowers, pick yourself up some additional resources, and don't be afraid to take side treks towards the edge of maps or areas where I tended to find more resources more readily. The Alchemist was also able to craft elixirs. These were specific 30-minute timer duration buffs that you could apply to your character one at a time. Not only would they give you some base additional buff, but they would always give you a 3% experience boon as well. Meaning that elixirs are probably the most important thing for increasing your overall leveling efficiency if you're going to be like me, trying to go for the first max level character when the game drops. While we were only able to see the base level of elixirs that the Alchemist had available to us, in the achievements for the game, it actually talked about a ton more different types of elixirs, but we couldn't see the benefits that you would get from them. But I assume you'll eventually be able to craft something better than a weak version of all of these different elixirs. Just to give you some examples here, one of the ones that I thought was probably the most important was actually the increase to attack speed, in addition to the increase in experience gain. For classes like the Rogue and the Barbarian, any increase in attack speed seemed really beneficial. Then it looks like there's going to be an elixir for increasing each individual elemental resistance type, as well as increasing overall survivability through a dodge chance, or my personal favorite, adding on Thorns damage, as well as additional armor, making you tankier and returning more damage every time a monster attacks you. The important things here to remember is that you could only have one elixir active at any given time, and they actually persisted through death. So you don't need to be afraid of using one and losing it, because once you revive, you're still going to have that effect on you. You're also able to refine different resources, so taking stuff like your Gallo Vine and building up into more rare components, as well as taking rarer components, actually breaking them down to base components. This is really nice. It means that starting off at low level, stopping to pick every flower is absolutely going to be worth your time, since as you get higher and higher level, you could probably expect to find less of the more rare resources, and this gives you an opportunity to build into them so that your lower level resources are never really wasted. I would expect a lot of the numbers here to change pretty drastically. This all felt very much like they were just kind of trying out what it might look like, but able to take higher level upgrading materials like silver ore and break them back down into iron chunks, as well as taking higher level herbal resources and breaking them back down into Gallo Vine. It looks like you're able to do this with all of the primary components that you need for crafting things, upgrading your gear at the blacksmith, as well as potentially upgrading your jewelry at the jeweler. The last tab that the Alchemist had available to them that we couldn't see anything in was the Incense tab. Considering our Healing Vial is for our own personal use, an Elixir is a buff that we can give to ourselves. Crafting an Incense very well may just be another type of singular buff that you can give to yourself, and I assume you'll be able to use them with Elixirs, but it's really hard to say at this point. But with the total cost that it takes to upgrade your vials, all of the resources you're going to need to have a steady supply of Elixirs, I can only imagine that the Incense tab is going to give us even more reason to stop and pick up every single resource that we come across. So I would highly recommend, again, just stopping and picking every single thing that you see, because it's probably going to have a use somewhere down the line. For more casual players just looking to buff themselves up with an Elixir or some kind of hardcore Mega Blaster trying to get that 3% XP buff up 100% of the time, it's definitely going to be worth your while to stop at the Alchemist. Make sure that your Healing Vial is maxed out to its limit and keep a steady supply of Elixirs in your consumables slot, because when Diablo 4 drops, you don't want to be caught without a few extra potions in your belt. Thank you so much for watching this video. We're obviously going to be putting out an updated version once we get more information on everything that the Alchemist has to offer in Diablo 4, so consider following and subscribing for more D4 content as we get closer to the release date. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.